Listen!
Welcome to Nintendo Voice Chat episode 520.5, 520 and one half. We're bringing you a extra special episode today because, lo and behold, once again, Nintendo has decided to drop a metric ton of news the day after we record Nintendo Voice Chat. So today we are talking about the Super Mario Brothers 35th anniversary Nintendo Direct that happened just a couple of hours ago. I'm joined by my friends Casey DeFreitas.
Hello.
Per Schneider.
I'm getting a hamburger.
For those of you that don't understand that reference, listen to the full episode and you'll get it. Uh-huh. And of course, Brian Altano.
It's a me.
How you doing, Brian?
I'm good.
It's a you. Yeah.
It was nice to get like this fleeting microdose of serotonin today. Just like a little dart.
Just a taste, just a little taste. Yeah, it was funny because I woke up this morning about an hour after the direct had happened, and a bunch of people were responding to Per's tweet about like, oh, will you do a mini episode? Will you cover this news? And I was like, oh my God, it must have actually happened, because we spent a fair amount of time yesterday talking about whether or not we'd actually get the news and whether we thought that the Mario collection was coming, et cetera, et cetera. So for those of you that somehow aren't in the know yet, we did get a big 16-minute look at what Nintendo has planned for Mario's 35th anniversary. And that, of course, includes the long-rumored Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection, and that is Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy. We're going to go ahead and talk through all of the announcements. There he is. We're going to talk through all of the announcements from the Direct today in chronological order, so we'll save that stuff for last. But I wanted to start with a couple of quick things today. Announced throughout the course of the Direct was just like a ton of merch and events across all over Nintendo. My Nintendo, Mario Kart Tour, Smash, Mario Maker, Splatoon 2, Animal Crossing. They're all getting Mario-specific events and items. There's a ton of toys and clothes and board games, all sorts of stuff coming out between now and March 31st, which is a pretty important date to this Mario anniversary that we're going to talk about here soon. And then also Super Mario All-Stars, the original SNES collection, is coming out on Nintendo Switch online services today. So if you're listening, you can play those great games right now on your Nintendo Switch. But let's go ahead and start with the first thing that Nintendo announced that probably Brian and I and Per are very excited for because we are old men. But that is the Mario Game & Watch special edition that is coming out in November 13th. This is just a little Game & Watch guide that has a D-pad added for smooth controls. Brian, I saw you talking about it in Nintendo Voice Chat. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this little special goodie?
So this is a really cool little toy. It looks like it's going to run about $50. Pre-orders aren't live yet, but it has Super Mario Brothers 1 and Super Mario Brothers 2, The Lost Levels, plus a remixed version of Ball, which is one of the first Game & Watch games. Oddly enough, there was a Super Mario Brothers. Yeah, he's just this juggling guy. They just swapped the head onto him. The Club Nintendo Game & Watch was one of the first physical rewards they did a while back, which was super cool. That played a single game on it and also doubled as an alarm clock. But obviously the Game & Watch is the original Nintendo handheld. It's the first thing they ever made. There was a portable system, and usually only you'd have to buy them individually. They had one game on at a time. Most of you know Game & Watch from Smash Brothers for repeatedly bringing some very truly bad levels to that franchise. But still worth noting because it's part of Nintendo history. Weirdly enough, there was a Super Mario Brothers Game & Watch back in the day that was like baby blue that played a sort of like LCD version of Super Mario where platforms kind of generated as he ran along. Very different than the NES one, but that's curiously not included here. But still, this is an awesome little treasure, a cool little throwback. And something, again, that I don't need, but I will buy. And this will now usher in yet another time where I've purchased the original Super Mario Brothers in some capacity, which I think 5 more versions of that game at least popped up throughout this show, which we'll talk about. But yeah, this is a cool little oddity. I'm glad they're making it.
It is weird too. Like we talked about, what Nintendo's next kind of standalone hardware release would be. I think everybody was banking on N64 Classic being the next one in the line. This one I couldn't have predicted because a Game & Watch collection in the shape of a Game & Watch makes total sense, right? They could have done single screen or dual screen and try to like collect most of the games in there. They're obviously very simple, and it wouldn't be as popular as a Super NES Classic or an N64 Classic, but it's still really cool. And so they try to do both, right? They honor the Game & Watch and then are releasing Mario as a standalone. And obviously the original Game & Watch unit does not have a color screen like that, right? So there's a little bit more to it than just a little LCD handheld that you're getting here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd be interested in a Game & Watch collection, but I am also, like Brian said, I saw this thing and I was like, I don't need that, but I want it so badly. Like, I don't need to spend $50 on Super Mario Brothers. Like, that is not a game that in 2020 is worth $50. But there's something about this form factor, the Famicom colors, like it just taps into this special part right back here in my brain that it's like, I must buy that. I must have it. It must be mine. And
I love it. I'm going to get it too. Like,
that's awesome. I was going to ask you, because I know you came in, around the Super Nintendo era. So I wanted to know if this was of any interest to you at all. But
so my very first game was Super Mario World, and my second game was Super Mario All-Stars. So I'm very excited to kind of revisit this, because I haven't played these games a significant amount of time since I was a kid. And I like things. I don't know if you can see behind me, but I just
love stuff.
I have a small problem with things, but I love this. I love this Game & Watch. I think it's really cool. I know I already have a Switch, I already have a DS, I already have a phone, I have an iPad, but I want this too, because you can never have enough devices to play things on.
Yeah, embarrassingly, my first thought when I saw this, like when they said, and also because it's a Game & Watch, it's of course it's also a clock. I have like an old style like digital clock on my nightstand, so I'm not looking at my phone throughout the course of the night. And the first thing I thought was like, oh, I can replace my clock with this Game & Watch, and that would be cool. Because I'm a huge nerd, but yeah,
weirdly, on I believe it was the DSi, the DS Lite, one of the first ones that let you go online and download apps. There was a Super Mario clock app for that I used all the time. It was like $3, and didn't have a playable version of Mario. It was just an 8-bit Mario that ran up and down, and it showed you what time it was. But yeah, I woke up to that for like a full 2 or 3 years of my life. So
nice. So then you're right there with me. Sounds great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, you know what? You're right. I used to use my DS as like a kitchen timer.
Interesting.
I forgot that was a thing.
Either way, I think that it's a super cool little throwback and a really nice way to celebrate Mario's 35th anniversary in a way that is, reminiscent of where Mario started, how he got his introduction there. So, very excited for that. Another thing that I'm excited about, and I know Per is excited about, is Super Mario 3D World coming to Nintendo Switch. That was the second announcement here. So the big thing out of this is obviously Bowser's Fury, which I'm curious to hear what you guys think that might be. But we knew that or we hoped that Mario 3D World was coming to the Switch. So, Per, why don't you tell us a little bit about what this announcement means for Mario fans on Switch?
Well, it means that there will not be a lot of games left on the Wii U that can only be played on that system, right? We're getting really close now. Now we just need some more Wind Waker and Xenoblade and stuff. But no, it means that we're getting a game that is fairly recent and looks really, really good still. I actually booted it up this morning with my daughter to just look at it in comparison. It's a very, very pretty game. It was hampered by a couple of things when it first came out. I felt, at least, right? Like,
first of all, being released on the Wii U.
Being on the Wii U, so where few people played it, it's still sold a couple million units, of course. But like, I felt like there were a couple of things going against it, and I know there are a lot of people out there who love it. I've always felt the run speed was too low. Even the standard movement speed was low, and they obviously did that in order to let you coordinate a little better with the other 4 players, because it is a 4-player game. It's semi 3D, so it's not like Odyssey or Mario 64 where you go free explore. It is kind of like the halfway between a side scroller and a 3D game. And then it was local co-op only at a time where a lot of people want to play games with their friends who may have moved away, and so. Sounds like this game's fixing a lot of that. The run speed is up. They made some tweaks to the gameplay. The way it looks and feels is slightly is definitely addressed. And this game isn't even done in development. But like, I booted up the Wii U version this morning, and even compared to the video we saw, it's blurrier. So you can definitely see the resolution up, the grass textures, everything looks a little bit more sparkly and shiny. And then there's this whole add-on pack to it. And I mean, you're asking the question what it is. Like, I like rain. It starts with a thunderstorm and an ominous like cat shrine, and there are trees with cat ears, and so that's all we need, right?
Do you think it's like a pack of evil remixed versions of pre-existing levels? Because that was kind of what I got from it.
Yeah, I think it's similar to Super Luigi. I think that there's something akin to that, or I hope that it is, like really tough levels, which is saying a lot, because some of those later levels, especially like the end game levels in Super Mario 3D World, were unbelievably hard. I'd love to see some like really tough, like a tough expansion for this game.
Yeah, if you have
new levels, though, I don't think they're just doing speed runs of existing levels. I think it's new stuff, because the style looks very different. We didn't see that look in the
kind of like a post-apocalyptic look at the Mario 3D. Like, Casey, what were you saying there?
I was just saying it looks like I think it will be more difficult, like you said, with the expansion. But I also think the way the camera like panned into that area, maybe it will be a more open exploration type area,
right?
To add on, and maybe there will also be additional levels, but that. I just saw there's a platform with revolving doors that it kind of went through. And if that open area wasn't playable, like why would that be there? But
interesting. Yeah.
If it's sort of
great.
If it's like a 3D hub world that allows you to get into other levels and stuff like that, that could be really cool. Like if this is basically not necessarily like open world Breath of the Wild-ish, but like, open world ish, like kind of like the way some of the God of War games or the Tomb Raider games do it, where there's just like a big environment with a bunch of different levels you can go to. That'd be really, really awesome. I want to point out two things. One, this is one of the best co-op games ever made, hands down. And if for some reason you missed out, my God, this is super fun. And they're adding like legit online co-op to this thing, which I think hopefully will work. I mean, historically, Nintendo hasn't been the best at that, but this seems like it's going to address some of those problems. And two, this is where Get the Thing originated from. Longtime NVC fans might remember Jose Otero screaming "Get the Thing" at me, which I believe was like a double cherry, and me not doing it. So this is one of those just like classic sort of like frantic competitive co-op multiplayer games that is super fun locally. I played this game for, I think I almost 100% of this game, but the last 2 or 3 levels were like really, really hard. I've been wanting to go back. Honestly, I've had my Wii U hooked up just to replay this game, and I haven't started it because I was waiting for this announcement. This is one of those like stuck in Wii U jail games that I'm so glad is being released. I'm so glad it's being released to a giant group of people who own the Switch, because millions of more people own the Switch. So a ton of people are going to get to play this game for the first time. I cannot wait to replay it. It is such a good game.
That's my. Go ahead, Per.
No, I was going to say, how are they going to do the? Remember the hidden blocks that would show if you scream? It used the microphone. It had these.
That's right.
If you made noise, hidden blocks would appear as like this kind of like glassy outline.
You could shake. You could do like a shake.
Probably will do something like shaking. Yeah.
I do not remember that at all.
I don't remember that either.
Yeah. Actually, that wasn't a feature. Per just thought it was, and was just spent a lot of time screaming into his Wii U, just assuming that that's what was making it happen. Well, we won't have to wait too terribly long for this. This is coming out February 12th. 2021, just in time for Valentine's Day. You can buy it for your
perfect.
Sweetie. I love this game. I think it's a criminally underplayed Mario game. I'm very excited for more people to get to take a crack at it.
I will personally say that that's way too long to wait, and I want it immediately. February is too far.
I was just gonna say, one of the most fun times I've had at IGN was doing that stream for New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe with you and Brendan Brian, and
Brendan Brian.
Brendan, Brian, Brendan. And I want to do this for this one too.
We have
to.
Yeah,
that sounds like
we totally have to.
Stepping back in time from a newer Mario release back to the very original Mario releases, Super Mario 35, a new take on the original Mario game, giving it the Tetris 99 route here. So this is a battle royale Mario game. I didn't play a ton of Tetris 99, although I definitely saw the appeal. This looks really cool to me because it is a time attack mode against a bunch of 35 different players. And, you can do things like defeating enemies, it will send them over to other screens and vice versa. What do you think about this? Casey, I want to start with you.
Man, I have no idea what to what to say about this. No, it looks cool. It completely, I don't know, unexpected, but I will play it, and it looks honestly okay. Sorry, I got my thoughts collected. Mark Medina is probably super excited about this.
Oh yeah,
I want to see him stream it because I believe he would
run Mark
wreck it. So Mark Medina does speed runs for Super Mario 64, and I believe other ones as well. But I know that's his main jam. But I think he would absolutely kill this.
Yeah, I think he'd be very good at this as well.
I don't know
Brian,
if you guys
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, did you guys play Super Mario Brothers Deluxe on the Game Boy Color? Because that was the first time they ever introduced a multiplayer version of the original NES Mario levels, which was you basically race against a ghost, and I believe you could race against other players, which is super cool. And taking that and multiplying it by the the Tetris 99 approach is really, really awesome. I'm super into this. It also sort of points out why Nintendo was so swift with the cease and desist for that fan-made Super Mario Battle Royale game that was going around a couple months ago. I don't know if you guys remember that, but they pounced on that one quick. But yeah, I hope that this is something that grows. I'm a little worried about, and this will become a running theme for this episode, but this is basically a timed release that will disappear.
I don't understand that for this at all.
Yeah, I believe they said that with Tetris 99 to begin with. I could be mistaken, but that one seems to have stuck around, and it's gotten regular tournaments and themes. And to me, this looks like one of those things where you could build and grow off this platform for a very long time. Like you could infuse this with Mario 2 or Mario World graphics. Like this is such a great sort of base for an idea of a game.
Maybe it'll be only available until March 31st through Nintendo Switch Online, and then you can buy it.
That's what I was going to say too. Yeah, because this is coming exclusively to Nintendo Switch Online members, but only available October 1st, but only available through March 31st. But I don't like, but I do think that it's probably an interesting take for Nintendo to have it exclusively free to NSO players through the 31st, and then offer it to everyone for $10, whatever.
Yeah.
I actually don't think they'll do that. I think this is what you're seeing now is the strategy that they tried to implement with the Satellaview on the Super Famicom back in the 90s, where it's almost like old school linear television, not like modern streaming TV, where there are special events that are going on and everybody gets excited and everybody rallies around it, and 50,000 people are watching concurrently on Twitch. And then they replace the experience with something new, so it becomes almost this live event circuit for them, but on their console. I think they've been meaning to do this for a long time. Obviously, see Satellaview back in the days via satellite, and so I think this is what Nintendo Online is going to be. I think they will have these limited experiences that you can enjoy, and you better jump in now, otherwise you're going to miss it. And then, of course, like a year later, they'll bring it back and they have some new levels or something like that. They just don't have enough titles like Tetris 99 and this to do that strategy yet. But I think this might be the start of it.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting idea. I'm admittedly terrible at the original Mario Brothers. Like I'm just so bad at that original game that I don't necessarily see myself playing a ton of this and trying to win any of these competitions. But for folks that are into speedrunning, for folks that love Tetris 99 and love Mario, like I think this is a really cool deal. I am, however, pretty darn good at Mario Kart, and we did get an interesting new take on the Mario Kart series today in the form of Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. Nintendo taking a toyetic approach here with this new Mario Kart, where it's a remote-controlled AR game based on tracks that you build out of the stuff in your house. This looks crazy. Pear, this seems like something that you would be the first person to jump aboard on. So why don't you tell me a little bit about this?
Well, Zach, I will definitely buy this. No kidding. We've talked about this so many times. Like whenever we think Nintendo is done doing the crazy toy maker stuff, they whip one out like this, right? And like this is kind of like it's halfway between Labo and halfway between remote control cars and a little Pokemon Go mixed in, right? Like this is kind of like the amalgamation of toys to life, but not centered around collection. This is more like, you know, some of the what was that racing track thing that you could build? We had one in the office too, but like it's a little bit more like that, where you have real life racing, but then they add a virtual element to it. We'll see how much fun it is to play, right? Mario Kart is fun because it's super fast. You can play against lots of people, and the tracks are outrageous. My son's room is outrageous. Be really interesting to see if this track could survive that one. But like, I think in the end, it is going to be like a cool novelty that you'll play, and it's definitely, this could be one of those super hot Christmas toys, right? Where every kid who sees this commercial, I don't know, do kids still watch commercials? Anyone who sees this, kids are gonna want this. This looks so cool.
Toy commercial YouTube is like a huge industry. Like kids, I worried about that too, because I was like, do kids even buy toys anymore? But yeah, that stuff goes nuts.
I would watch commercials.
The Switch for it, right?
Yes,
so
yes, you do need the Switch.
Yeah.
And I noticed it only comes in 2 different versions, Mario and Luigi, and I wonder how many younger siblings are going to be upset about being stuck with the Luigi one. But why not a third version? Why not also Peach? Why can't we get Mario, Luigi, and Peach?
Good call.
I think, is it 2 different versions, or is the Luigi one the add-on car?
I think it's just the 2 different cars. I mean,
Gotcha. Oh yeah, and it says the software is a free download when you have the thing.
Did any of you immediately start just like scanning your homes and apartments?
100%. Yeah, that was actually what I was going to ask you guys next. Is like how many of us were watching this and like looking around, thinking like, I could get him under there, I could get him over here, he can go up over this thing,
right?
Like, yeah. Can I build a ramp? Like, my
apartment's mostly carpeted, so I was immediately like, "Oh no, this is not going to work. I should move. You know, I should figure. I should move."
My house is the configuration of my house is really weird. It's, if you know what an Eichler home was, were these like 1960s modern homes that had an atrium in it, so they had like an opening in the middle of the house, so like almost like a circle. And then my house was one burnt down, and the dude who rebuilt it made it as a 2-story. So my second story is basically this 360 walkway, and you can see the first floor from up there. So
that's sick.
That's cool.
Track. It's and you'll have greyhounds jumping across as obstacles. Of course.
I honestly figured you already had this pair. It's one of those things I just thought you had baked in. You're like a car guy and a Nintendo guy, and you have the square footage for it. I figured you just had this.
Yeah, this 100%. Like, as soon as I saw this, I was like, I know Pear is going to be on the front lines for this. Like, I know he's going to run out and get this day one.
Well, even if it's not fun to play in the end, it's just the tech is so clever, and like the idea to make these cars with cameras on them. It's like, it's such a clever take on the AR and the Toys to Life genre in one. And then, there are a couple of things that they had these little track elements that look like Labo, honestly, right? Like the little gates. It did say that track elements are sold separately. So we'll see what this looks like. If it's a hit, maybe they'll release add-on packs and little ramps and stuff like that. But
that'd be super cool.
I think it's really clever. And the team behind it, they haven't... it's a bunch of veterans that founded this studio, right? Velen Studios, people who worked on Nintendo games in the past, and like apparently they've been working on this thing for a while. And they're going to release on their website, they're going to release a blog about the creation, the kind of like idea behind it, what sparked it and stuff. So
I'd be super interested to read. I'd be super interested to read that, because the only thing that was a detraction to me when I was watching this trailer was like, how well do these carts actually work? You know, when you're hit with obstacles like the freeze block or the blue shell or something, like, what does that mean when the cart stops? Are you trying to avoid those carts when you're controlling it? What happens when your Bluetooth from or whatever is connecting the carts to your Switch cuts out? Like, a lot of questions to be answered there. But if it's a veteran team that's tried and tested, I think that speaks to hopefully the quality of this game.
Yep.
Go ahead,
I was going to say real quick, the really interesting thing to me is that there are, in this video, there's a lot of the kids are basically making outside of universe obstacles. Like there's like a barrier that falls down, and like how does your little Mario man know that he got hurt in real life? Like, I understand how digitally he can send the message back to the physical cart, but if the physical cart just hits a wall, I don't know.
Maybe the camera can detect see the obstacle.
Yeah, you know? I wonder if it would notice my cat in like live.
I hope so. God, I hope that would be so cool if it could detect.
I love by the way, I love the notion, like in the digital game, the character gets hit by a turtle shell and then the cart stops. You notice that, right? So like the way it's synced together, it's just really clever. Crazy toy maker.
And it's also
we'll know more.
4-player local co-op, which is really nice.
Yeah.
You only need one
although the idea of cramming 4 of these little carts like into my house seems pretty
you gotta
difficult.
get a bigger house, Zach.
Any San Francisco. Jesus. We will know more about this game relatively soon because it drops next month, October 16th. But then, of course, the big announcement today, the one that I think everybody is here for, is Super Mario 3D All-Stars. We heard this supposed leak back in February, I think, that this 3D collection was coming. Obviously, we've had several episodes of NVC where we've talked about, whether or not we were going to get this, what it would look like, what the games were. Today, we found out that this game is coming. This collection is coming to us on September 18th. And it is Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy. Each of these games are coming in higher resolution and getting the 16:9 treatment. 64 specifically is in 960 by 720 in handheld and TV mode. Sunshine and Galaxy, 1920 by 1080 in TV, 1280 by 720 in handheld. These games, what they showed off, looks gorgeous. I think it's a smart collection. I see some people lamenting the lack of Mario Galaxy 2, but I'm really pleased with this collection. I pre-ordered it immediately. Per, let's start with you. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about 3D All-Stars?
I mean, first of all, do you think they're holding out for a second 3D collection that's going to follow this? That's going to have like Mario Land and Galaxy 2 in it, or it's
maybe
it's kind of.
What else would you put there though?
What else? I'm sure there's another 3D game we're forgetting, right?
And so they actually don't technically consider the 3D World and 3D Land as part of the sort of open world Mario timeline. Like they put out this graphic a while back. You guys are probably you've seen it, right, Zach? Where it shows like these games, Sunshine, Galaxy 64, on sort of one plane, and underneath is the 3D Land, 3D World stuff, which is really odd, but.
Yeah. So, I mean, my first reaction was like, first of all, I'm super happy to be able to play these again easily. I do have a Wii U and a GameCube hooked up. Right now, my N64 is not hooked up. And so just being able to play these games so easily on the Switch and have access to them is just wonderful. I'm really excited for that. I'm also excited that they're bundling them instead of, selling them separately for too much money. I also, I was a little disappointed that they didn't do a full remake on Mario 64, right? Like that's the game that is, from a design perspective, so absolutely awesome. Like the world, it's a smaller world and everything is so well put together that the only limitation to some people's enjoyment today will be that he looks really blocky and it's limited and it's a 4:3 game still, right? Like despite the up-res, it's not widescreen. So all of that, I would have loved if they had gone all out and at least redid this one with the textures and the look of Mario Odyssey. But it's also nice to have this classic running nicely and in higher resolution. Now, I think the other two games. Yeah, I
was just gonna say, I think the Mushroom Kingdom at the end of Odyssey was kind of a cruel tease. I think that we seeing that was like, if they did a 64 remake in this engine, that would be like such a delight and such a nice homage to one of the most important games of all time. Yeah. And I do see that on Twitter, around the internet, people are disappointed that these aren't more remakes than remasters. But I don't know. I think that just having a version of Mario 64 that is clean and less murky and very sharp in this resolution is totally fine for me. Like, I just want to play that game again. And this is a perfectly feasible, perfectly workable version of that.
Yeah, and I'd say that Galaxy is a very pretty game. And the only disappointment I had with Galaxy when it came out was that it was running on Wii, which was the odd console out and not supporting HD at all, right? And so getting that one in a higher resolution, I think it's actually going to look really pretty. It had really nice lighting. Sunshine. So there are some tweaks. You can already see it in the trailer. There are a couple of corners in the original Sunshine that really slow down. They showed the manta ray level, for example. That one was a mess. It could crawl it could go to 4 frames per second.
I remember that
low. And so I do think that they addressed a lot of that. Hopefully they removed some of the very punishing background filtering, like the blur, as they did with Wind Waker when they ported Wind Waker to the Wii U. Like if you go back to the original GameCube version, the game is very blurry because of that attempt to create this kind of depth of field look. And so I'm hoping they fix a lot of that. One thing that really should have been addressed with Sunshine is the lighting engine. The lighting, I don't know if you remember, when you start the game, it looks very gray and very drab, and it's because of this concept of having the sun obscured. And so the game can look really ugly until you clean up and you let the sun come through. And then there are also some really pretty parts of the game, especially the little bonus stages where you use your flood background, the kind of like wooden structures and stuff. It's still a pretty game. And I think it'll look really nice, but I wish they had touched it up just a little.
I was impressed with how good it looked just in the trailer. Like I was pretty taken aback at, Sunshine is the only game in this collection that I've only played once. And I was pretty surprised to see that and think like, oh yeah, this looks much better than I remember it. Casey, Brian,
it gets grief. Yeah, it gets a lot of grief, but it's actually much better than people remember. I recently replayed it.
Yeah, we were talking about this in another channel, but we were talking about how Super Mario Sunshine had a lot working against it because it had to follow Mario 64. And I think that I hope that people now having an opportunity to play it removed from that conversation will see that it is a very, very good game. Casey and Brian, I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think of these three games? Which one will you be starting with? Casey, let's start with you. Which one do you want to jump into first?
So I was kind of hoping that, I think like most people, that we would be getting a full remake of Mario 64 because it's just the oldest one in this collection. Right. But I think the value of having all three in one makes me feel a lot better about repurchasing these games. But I have a confession to make. I actually never finished Mario Sunshine or Mario Galaxy. I played them for many, many hours, but I just never finished them. I actually have this problem with a lot of games. So
Nintendo never finished Mario Sunshine. So no, really, like I love that game, but that it sort of falls apart by the end. Like it was kind of famously rushed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now I'll get to finish the unfinished game on the Switch. I think I'll start with Mario Sunshine because I think that's the one I played the least as well. So I have the least like recollection about that one. But yeah, so I want to re-up on that with Mario.
It's the
Sunshine.
longest to go for most people, right? Because 64 saw a re-release on the
3DS
and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Or on the regular
64 has
DS,
been ported a few times actually. I mean,
most recently to Wii U.
Yeah, it was on the Wii U. Galaxy 1 and 2
also
came to Wii U. So Sunshine is the only one that's been sort of like locked to one spot until 3D World, obviously, but that's much more recent. I think I'm going to play through these chronologically. I love Mario 64, and it's been I 100%ed Sunshine. God, just looking at that level where he jumps on those blocks.
The sound effects of the enemies are so good.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to play through chronologically. I haven't played Galaxy since I 100%ed it when it initially released. Same with Sunshine. I really remember I retweeted somebody put up a picture of their like receipt of buying this game 18 years ago, the same day I believe the Wavebird came out, which was like $30. Just awesome day for Nintendo.
My
fans.
Wavebird still works.
Yeah, mine too. Super cool.
Look how good that looks. It looks really nice still.
Yeah, there was a lot of really cool stuff in Sunshine that got pretty challenging. And yeah, man, Galaxy looks really good here. You're totally right. Like having only seen it I've seen some videos of it running, pirated on emulators and stuff like that on Dolphin on PC. I think you're always going to get something better looking there. I'm with you guys a little bit in that I would have liked to see a slightly more effort here. The big thing that I think everybody is talking about here is why these games are going away in March. Yeah. It feels bizarre to me. It's extremely like 1990s Disney Vault. They pulled crap like this all the time where they'd be like, Pocahontas is available on VHS for the next 2 weeks, and then it's going away. And it is literally just to eventize something, stir up a lot of consumer interest, and then, yank the rug out from everybody. And I do feel that it is
separately.
Yep. Yeah, it is a little bit anti-consumer. I do think that in a time where people are sort of, feeling the pinch on their wallets a little bit more than ever, that it's not really the best move. I don't think it's a weird thing to do. It's not something they've really done before. And so I don't really see the need for it. I understand making the physical copy something that is a limited run. But on the flip side, this is something that they're going to sell millions of copies of. And so why not just keep it in the market, especially removing it from digital shops? What does that mean for those of us who download it? I get worried about stuff like that,
Yeah.
They did that with the Wii version, right? Like the Wii Mario collection thing, or the anniversary thing. They discontinued that initial kind of special edition pack, and then they did the classics lineup, and then they re-released it, but it didn't have all the kind of like the extras and pack-ins in it. So I don't know. We'll see. I bet they'll just release them separately digitally.
Well, yeah, I think that's definitely the case here, is that, we're going to get them for $60 in one package, which honestly, like, I would have preferred to see these 3 games at like $39.99 for a collection. I think that would have been just a home run, but I think that these are going to be $60 for this package. And then down the road, they're going to release each one for, $25 or $30 individually, or maybe Mario 64 for less, and then, scaling up for each subsequent release. But it's not a great look, I don't feel, but I'm not surprised that this is Nintendo's approach here, because like Brian said, this is a practice that's been utilized by companies since the 90s, where it's like, this is an exclusive thing. This is a window of exclusivity. Like, get it now before it goes away, to try and bolster sales. We are running pretty short on time. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Casey.
I did just want to clarify real quick that this is limited with release time, not production. So as far as we know, they will make plenty of them to be purchased. It's just after that date, you can no longer purchase it. So I wouldn't be worried about the physical copies being gone immediately. This is something that people in Nintendo, in our podcast forums on Facebook, were talking about, like, if you're jerks if you buy more than one. But I don't think that's the case of limited production. At least maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see people scrambling to find physical copies of this.
It's just sort of antithetical to the sort of historian aspect of making these games playable for the first time for modern audiences for so long, only to take it away from them. Like, that's such a bummer to me. It's like, just make this a permanent fixture, make it part of the selling point of Switch. I mean, just saying you can play, 2 of the best 3D Mario games of all time and Super Mario Sunshine in the same place on Switch is a really, it's a good thing to do to sell consoles.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have to wrap it up here pretty quickly, but one last thing that I wanted to talk about was some additional Mario merch. Casey, why don't you tell us about this BlackMilk collab?
So I just wanted to give you guys a PSA. So we saw just 2 pieces from BlackMilk, and I'm actually wearing this. So this sleeveless shirt is the business time shirt, and it looks like that's what the mushroom, the mushroom shirt that we saw in that stream is. But I wanted to give this PSA because this is launching on October 5th. If you want this Mario collection, you have to go to BlackMilk Clothing before that day, make an account and make a wish list. And then immediately, as soon as it launches, literally the minute, like the second that it is available to purchase, you need to immediately add your wish list to your cart and check out. You can't have second thoughts. You just have to know and immediately do it. The Pokemon collection sold out in 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be ready and do that. So that's it.
Stress. Yeah, too much stress.
So if you want that stuff,
lady pants for myself.
You have to be immediate. And also, we have a wiki page on how to get the limited edition Mario pins. It's a series of different missions that you have to do through your My Nintendo account. So yeah, just if you look up how to get the Super Mario Bros. 35th anniversary pins, IGN wikis, that page will pop up.
And they did also announce that if you wear the lady pants while you play with the Mario Kart, you can unlock exclusive power-ups. So that's just a heads up, Pear. You're gonna need
you have to show it to the little Mario Kart.
But Pear, in order for that to work, you have to wear the lady pants and you have to tweet a picture of yourself wearing the lady pants.
Yeah, so that's true.
Just keep that in mind if you want those power-ups. That is about all the time we have. That is about all the time we have for this episode. This brief pickup episode of Nintendo Voice Chat. No listener questions this week. Or this episode, but go ahead and send us those questions about this Mario collection and all these Mario announcements, and we'll address them next week on the show. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. NVC typically drops at 3 p.m. on Thursdays unless there's huge Nintendo news, and then we try our best to scramble and make up for it. Thanks for listening, and remember, this is the only place where you can
get the thing.
Get the lady pants.